When you're in the realm and in the vibration of more appreciations in your relationship, your cells will vibrate to that. And when your cells vibrate to that, when you're out of that, again, it feels so out of norm that you want to come back to it faster. And when you want to come back to it faster, what you'll do is you'll drop it faster. Successful couples, they go at it. They argue. What they do is they drop it faster and they come back into connection faster, as opposed to having the same type of argument and then getting fed up and leaving, and now there's withdrawal, and now they're not talking to each other for 6 hours, a day, or a week, and holding it. So when you're vibrating more in that aspect, you want to go back to that feeling. And then if you see, again, you're going to see more of the aspects of what you appreciate in that person as you're living in more appreciation, that when you have that moment, you'll be able to, again, drop it and go back faster in what you know. If you know what you're doing that's making it difficult to get what you want. So if I know that I am yelling or criticizing, and that is not getting me what I want, and that's closeness and kindness, cooperation, I have to be aware of that. I also have to be aware of what can I do to make it easier to get what I want. And we're not talking from a manipulation standpoint. Okay? We're talking about the essence of what it is that I want in the relationship. And usually, again, it's the essence of cooperation, kindness, love. You know, not I want just the dishes to be done. You know. I think you're right. It's very difficult to go from that aspect of hostility to all of a sudden go right into appreciation. So one is to remove the intensity of that situation. If that's coming your way, you do not have to bite. And that is all about self-control and self-discipline. And there's, you know, that's really plain and simple to say, is that if you do not bite and interject, defend, go back, and there's ways to stand up for yourself without criticizing, shaming, and blaming back. The way that you're talking to me right now, I'm sorry, I'm not available to hear that. And I'm going to leave if you continue. I did not criticize, I did not shame, and I did not blame. So I'm all for you standing up for yourself. But you have to be careful of it if you're standing up for it to meet energy to meet energy. So there's ways to stand up for yourself without criticizing and shaming back. As the emotions start to dissipate, then that's an aspect of being able to, again, if you can, search for any of the next best thought, the next best thought of what it is. And that is, of course, trying to find connection. Because if you're constantly thinking about, well, that person just, you know, harmed my emotions or harmed my feelings in that way, and the focus that you're going to put on that, as opposed to, well, they were really upset in that situation. Okay? Right now, I'm not criticizing or blaming or shaming that person. They were really upset. And I know if I can give them the benefit of the doubt, because if most of the time, again, if you spend most of your time outside of that emotional upheaval in connection, or most of the time as much as you can in appreciation, that's going to be your foundation. And if that's your foundation, you're going to be spending more time there. So when you're in a experience that is outside of that, it's going to feel very foreign to you. And so that you'll be able to drop that intensity a lot faster and come back to connection. And that's the aspect too, is about dropping it. You know, when you have that 5-to-1 ratio of positive experience to every one negative experience, you will be able to drop it more because you just see that that is not the norm of your relationship. It is a challenge. Yeah, it definitely is. So yeah, I don't advocate just that aspect of rolling over and going right to the appreciation when you're feeling the intensity. Remove yourself, find your groundiness, and then in that groundiness you may be able to find it. It's very difficult to give it. Oh, I really appreciate that you have very large vocal cords. You know, I don't think that that's gonna work. If you do remove yourself and take care of yourself, you can appreciate yourself for doing that. When you appreciate yourself, that you're taking care of the relationship, that you did not escalate it by continuing to go back into ping pong, then when you start to feel the appreciation, and you'll fill up more with the appreciation, it's a lot easier to give it. When you give an appreciation, you need to feel the appreciation. You need to feel it. Because if you don't feel it, they won't feel it. right? Same thing with remorse. If you don't feel remorse when you're apologizing, they will not feel it. You have to feel it. So one of the tasks, of course, is to not just verbalize it, is to feel it. One way to feel it is to spend a lot of time in your thought process when you're not with the person of thinking and feeling appreciations. We spend a lot of time on appreciation, and I spoke to this before, is this was a very powerful experiment for us to do in our lives. About 5 years ago, we made a commitment to appreciating each other. And we did what's called heart shares, which I'll introduce you to when we break out. And the focus of it was appreciation, meaning that usually we have a dialogue about many different subjects, but we decided to only do appreciation in a heart share. What we did was one person speaks and the other one listens. And we did a half hour of appreciation. I would speak for a half hour of appreciation to her, and then she would then speak a half hour of appreciation to me. We did that twice a week for 6 months. Every week, 2 times a week. So that was a full hour of one-sided appreciation. Our relationship has not recovered since. I mean that in a very positive sense. We just fueled it, and we became very proficient at the art of appreciation. Very, very efficient at it. The details of it, the nuances, the body sensation of appreciation, where I became very excited to give appreciations to her because I saw the power of what it did to our relationship and the power of what it did to my other relationships. I started exploring much more appreciations in other relationships. One thing too is that when you think of positive aspects, positive appreciation, when they do that bothersome behavior, it won't affect you as much because you're already in the realm of it. That happens a lot with my son. When I'm into positive appreciations to him, when he's acting like a teenager, I don't take it personally. But when I'm feeling underappreciated and not in that realm, when he does something, it's a personal attack on me. And I think that that's the cycle that most of us get to in intimate relationships, is that cycle of that criticism, of that feeling of entitlement, you know, not putting enough focus, that 5-to-1 ratio, on positive interactions over negative interactions. Okay? What you focus on expands, especially if you do it to your significant other because you're a system. When you've developed this reaction and response with each other. So when one part of the system shifts, the system has to shift. And so if I'm thinking of an aspect of either appreciations or resentment, intentionally, the neutral gets overridden. Usually, the neutral gets overridden. So again, what I will put out to you, what's very powerful, is intentionally thinking about positive